Before you are two things. One has been considered the heart's main enemy for the past 70 years, and the other, as it turns out, kills faster, and it's not the cigarettes. Silence on the phone, no incoming calls, weeks without a live conversation. Scientists at Brigham Young University analyzed data from 3 million people from different countries. This isn't a small study of 100 volunteers, 3 million lives tracked over decades. And they got a number that shocks. Social isolation increases the risk of premature death by 26 to now 32%. For comparison, smoking increases this risk by 25 to 30%, obesity by 23%, alcoholism by 20%. So the absence of social connections kills more effectively than most factors doctors warn us about. But the strangest thing isn't even that. What's strange is what's happening to your blood vessels right now while you're watching this video. Perhaps you're watching it alone. The room is quiet. You're safe. But your body doesn't think so. Your body has activated a program it hasn't turned off for 1,000,000 years. And this program doesn't know you're in a safe apartment. It thinks you've been expelled from the tribe. And in the wild, that meant only one thing: imminent death. Right now, as you listen to these words, the level of certain proteins is rising in your blood. Your heart is beating under slightly more strain. Your blood vessels are in a state of chronic tension. If this lasts a day or two, not a big deal. The body will cope. But if this lasts weeks, months, years, irreversible destruction begins. You know what strikes me most about this story? We're not going to talk about depression. We're not going to talk about sadness, longing, existential crisis. All of that is important, but it's not our topic. We're going to talk about biochemistry, about how your blood literally changes composition when there's no one nearby for a long time, about how blood vessels become fragile even though you eat right, take all the pills your doctor prescribed, and get regular checkups, about how you can lead an ideally healthy lifestyle by all parameters, and still kill your heart simply by the fact of having no living people around. Here's a question that stumps even doctors. Why does a cheerful person who smokes, drinks, and eats fatty foods, but does it in the company of friends, often live longer than a disciplined loner with smoothies, a gym membership, and a strict diet? Doctors see this constantly. Two patients, about the same age. One is exemplary, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, exercises, watches their diet. The other is a rule breaker, smokes, likes to drink, doesn't deny themselves fatty foods. But they have a big family, lots of friends, some gathering every weekend. And then 10-15 years pass. And it turns out the rule breaker feels better, has a healthier heart, is more vigorous, more energetic, while the exemplary patient comes in complaining of pressure, chest pains, chronic fatigue.
Why?
We'll break this down now, and I warn you, the answer won't please those used to thinking I'm fine on my own. Because your body is not fine. Not at all. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Our body is not a modern machine. It's a very old mechanism that was calibrated over hundreds of thousands of years. And it was calibrated for one simple task: to survive in a group. Imagine our ancestors 100,000 years ago, the savannah, predators. If you're alone, you're dead. No one will cover you while you sleep. No one will warn you of danger. Chances of survival? Zero. Archaeologists have studied the remains of our ancestors, and you know what they discovered. Almost all skeletons are found in places where group camps clearly existed. There are almost no solitary burials, because loners didn't survive long enough to leave a trace. Banishment from the tribe in primitive society was equivalent to a death sentence, only a slow one. The question wasn't, will the person survive, but how many days will they last? And evolution did a brilliant thing. It built an early warning system into our brain, a kind of alarm. That was supposed to scream, "Danger! You're losing connection with the group. Do something urgently." This system works through pain, not physical, chemical. Do you know that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain? This has been shown on tomographs. When a person is excluded from a game, when their messages are ignored, when they're demonstratively not noticed, the same areas light up as with a bruise or burn. Evolution made social pain as real as physical pain. Because for species survival, this was critically important. The individual had to stay in the group at any cost. When you're alone too long, the brain starts to panic. Not at the level of thoughts, at the level of chemistry. It launches a cascade of reactions that were supposed to help an outcast survive, at least for a short time. What exactly happens? The body goes into hypervigilance mode. Blood pressure rises to react to danger faster. Muscles get more oxygen. Pupils dilate to see better in the dark. Blood becomes thicker, so it clots faster if wounded. The immune system reconfigures, begins preparing for wounds and infections from bites, not for a long life. Digestion slows. The body conserves energy. Libido drops. No time for reproduction when survival is in question. Sleep becomes shallow, to wake at the slightest rustle. This is called trauma defense mode. Your body literally thinks some predator is about to tear you apart, and it's preparing to minimize blood loss and react as quickly as possible. Catch the irony? In the 21st century, there's no predator. You're in a warm apartment with a refrigerator, with internet, thousands of people in neighboring buildings. Police protect from criminals. Medicine treats diseases. But your body doesn't know this. It doesn't have a sensor that determines, oh, I'm in a modern city, it's safe here. It relies on the only signal available to it. Are people nearby? It sees no close contacts for a long time, no voices, no touches, no shared meals, no laughter in company, and makes the only possible conclusion: I've been abandoned. I'm an outcast. I'm in mortal danger, and activates the ancient survival program. The problem is, this program was designed for a couple of days, a week maximum. It was supposed to give the outcast one last chance, find another tribe, return, or die quickly without prolonged suffering. Evolution didn't foresee this program running for months, years, decades. But for modern humans, it runs exactly like that. A person retires. Children have grown up, moved away. Spouse died or divorced. No more colleagues. Old friends gradually lost touch. Some moved away. Some are busy. Some are also isolated. And so the person remains alone, in a comfortable apartment, with a pension, with a TV, formally safe. But their body screams, this is the end, activating death mode. And here, the destruction begins. Thick blood, which was supposed to save from bleeding, starts slowly killing blood vessels. Elevated pressure, which was supposed to give energy for flight, starts destroying artery walls. Chronic inflammation, which was supposed to help wound healing, starts corroding the endothelium. the inner layer of your vessels. Constant hypervigilance exhausts the adrenal glands. They produce cortisol around the clock. This is the stress hormone. Normally, its level fluctuates, higher in the morning, lower in the evening. With chronic isolation, it's always elevated. And this destroys everything, from immunity to memory. It's as if your body were a factory. The factory operates in normal mode when there's stability. There's time for equipment repair, maintenance, modernization. But when the brain senses isolation, it shifts the entire factory into wartime mode. Round-the-clock work, no days off, no scheduled maintenance, all resources for producing stress hormones, maintaining pressure, inflammatory reactions. Resources are spent on survival today, not longevity tomorrow. And gradually the factory falls apart, parts wear out, systems malfunction. And here's what's important to understand. This isn't about mood. You might be comfortable in solitude. You might be an introvert who genuinely doesn't like noisy crowds. You might enjoy the quiet, the ability to do what you want when you want. But your body doesn't care. It operates according to a program written long before concepts like introvert, personal space, and I need to be alone appeared. For the body, prolonged isolation is not comfort, it's a signal. You're not needed, you've been expelled, prepare to die. And it launches processes that shorten life. This isn't a metaphor. This is physiology. This is biochemistry. This can be measured in blood tests, seen on tomographs, recorded on an ECG. Let's look inside. What specifically happens to your blood vessels when the brain decides you're in danger? It all starts with the endothelium. This is the thin inner layer of your arteries, the very lining of blood vessels. In normal condition, the endothelium is smooth as a mirror. Blood flows along it easily without resistance. But when alarm mode is activated, inflammatory proteins, cytokines, are released into the blood. These are chemical signals telling the body, prepare for attack. Along with them rises the level of C-reactive protein, the main inflammation marker. And these substances begin doing to your endothelium what sandpaper does to a polished surface. Day after day, imperceptibly, they scratch this mirror layer, make it rough. Imagine a non-stick pan. While the coating is intact, everything's great, nothing sticks. But if you start scrubbing it with a metal brush every day, what happens? Scratches appear, and everything starts sticking to the scratches. Same with your vessels. Once the endothelium becomes rough, cholesterol starts sticking to it. Plaques form, vessels lose elasticity, become brittle. This is atherosclerosis, and here's where it gets really interesting. A study published in the journal Genome Biology showed loneliness changes gene expression. It literally reprograms how your cells work. Genes responsible for anti-inflammatory protection turn off. And genes that trigger inflammation, on the contrary, work at full power. So chronic isolation isn't just stress, it's change at the cellular level. Your body stops repairing itself and begins slowly destroying itself from within. Doctors call this silent inflammation. It doesn't hurt. You don't feel it, but it smolders for years, insidiously destroying your heart and blood vessels. As a result, the vessels of a 50-year-old living in isolation can look like the vessels of a 70-year-old heavy smoker, but at least the smoker knows they're harming themselves. The lonely person often doesn't even suspect what's happening. And here a fair question arises. Wait, what loneliness? We have the internet, social networks, messengers. You can correspond all day, watch friends' stories, like, comment. Isn't that communication? This is where the main trap of our time lies. You see, our brain is a very ancient thing. It was formed millions of years under conditions of live contact. For it, real communication is when there's eye contact, when you hear a voice, when you can read micro expressions on a face, when you feel the physical presence of another person. Only at this moment is oxytocin produced, the hormone of trust and attachment. Only then does cortisol decrease. Only then does the brain get the signal. Everything's okay. We're not alone. The tribe is here. And what do social networks give? Pictures, text, likes. It's like the difference between real food and a picture of food on a menu. You can stare at a photo of a steak as long as you want. You won't get full from it. There's such a concept: high-calorie communication without vitamins. Social networks give us a sense of satiety. We have 500 friends on Facebook, dozens of messenger chats, constant notifications. We seem not to be alone, but at the same time, the body feels abandoned because you can't fool the brain. Moreover, there are studies showing the more time a person spends on social networks, the higher their level of loneliness. A paradox? No. Digital communication just displaces live communication, and it's live communication that's lacking. And so a person sits in their apartment in the evening, scrolls through the feed, sees friends relaxing somewhere, having fun, meeting up, likes posts, writes comments, closes the phone, and feels emptiness. Because there was no contact, there was an illusion of contact. And the body? The body continues producing cortisol, continues keeping vessels under tension, continues destroying the endothelium. We live in an era when, for the first time in human history, you can be technically connected to the whole world and at the same time experience the deepest biological isolation. And there's another nuance. Often we ourselves choose this isolation. We call it rest from people, energy restoration, being alone with myself. And this is indeed sometimes necessary. Everyone needs a break. But the trap is that this break can imperceptibly stretch out. Weekends turn into weeks, weeks into months. And now a person is living in a mode their own body perceives as a chronic threat. A quiet life, comfort. No one annoys, distracts, demands attention. But for the ancient brain, silence isn't peace. It's an alarm signal. Okay, you'll say, it's clear what's happening, but what to do about it? And here I have good news. You don't need to urgently rush to meet people, go on dates, or sign up for interest clubs. Although if you enjoy that, great. But if not, there's another way. The thing is, for your brain, what's important is not so much deep relationships as regularity of contacts. There's a concept of weak ties. These are brief, non-committal, but regular interactions with other people. Sociologist Mark Granovetter showed back in the 70s, it's weak ties that often play a crucial role in our well-being. These aren't close friends, not relatives. It's a neighbor you exchange a few words with in the elevator, a store clerk you greet, a colleague you have coffee with during lunch break. Seems like a trifle, but for the body this is a signal. I'm part of a community. I'm not alone. People see me, talk to me. There's an experiment. A group of people were asked to engage in brief conversations with strangers every day for a week, in a cafe, on transport, in line, literally 30-60 seconds. After a week, all participants had their cortisol levels measured. It decreased by an average of 15%. 15% is a lot. It's like you started taking stress medication, only without side effects. So the first recommendation is very simple. Bring micro interactions back into your life. No heroism needed, no forcing yourself. Just start noticing people around you. At the store, don't stand glumly silent in line. Exchange a few words with the cashier. How's your day? Fine, thanks. Done. That's enough. In the yard, nod to a neighbor. Say good morning. At the clinic, support a conversation with the person sitting next to you in line. This doesn't require effort. This doesn't require leaving your comfort zone. This is simply returning what was natural for humans always, until we learn to hide behind screens. And second, volunteering or mentoring. Why specifically this? Because when we help others, our brain gets a powerful cocktail of neurotransmitters: oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. This is natural chemical support that literally patches up our blood vessels. A study at Carnegie Mellon University showed people over 50 who volunteer at least 4 hours a week are 40% less likely to suffer from hypertension. 40%. That's more effective than many medications. Volunteering can be anything: helping at an animal shelter, participating in community cleanups, teaching something to young people, helping a neighbor carry bags upstairs. The main thing is the sense of being needed. When someone needs you, when your experience and participation matter, your brain understands. You're valuable to the tribe, which means you're not being written off, which means there's no need to destroy the body from within. The third point, restoring rituals. Remember how people used to visit each other? Just like that, for tea, to sit, to talk, no special occasion, without organizing something grand. These were rituals of closeness, regular, undemanding, but creating a sense of connection. Try to restore at least one such ritual. A call to an old friend once a week, Saturday coffee with a neighbor, Sunday lunch with a brother or sister. A ritual is when you know this meeting will happen. No need to negotiate every time. Find time. Convince yourself. It's simply there in the calendar, and this regularity gives your body what it needs. Contact stability. You know what's interesting? With age, our social circle naturally narrows. Someone moves away, someone retires, and work connections are severed. Children grow up, create their own families. Old friends. Sometimes old friends leave entirely. This is normal. This is part of life. But here's the thing. If earlier, at 25 or 35, your social circle replenished naturally, new colleagues, acquaintances through friends, chance meetings, then after 45-50, this requires effort. And many at this moment make a choice toward peace. My own people are enough. Why do I need new acquaintances at this age? I'm already tired of people. This is understandable. This is humanly explainable. But your body doesn't understand this. For it, circle narrowing is a death sentence. So after 45, social life is no longer about pleasure and entertainment. It's about hygiene, like brushing teeth or washing hands. You don't ask yourself, do I want to brush my teeth today? You just do it because you know. Otherwise, there will be problems. With social contacts, it's the same. This isn't luxury. This is necessity. This is prevention of that very silent inflammation that melts your blood vessels. And here's what else is important to understand. Loneliness is not a death sentence. It's not an incurable condition. It's a deficiency, like vitamin D or iron deficiency. It's treated by replenishment. Your body reacts very quickly to changes. There's data. After just 2 to 3 weeks of regular social contact, The level of inflammatory markers in blood begins to decrease. In a couple of months, pressure stabilizes. In 6 months, indicators become noticeably better. The body wants to live. It wants to be healthy. It just needs to be given the right signals. And the last thing I want to say, age after 45 is actually a time of opportunities. Opportunities to choose. You're no longer dependent on random people, as in youth. You're no longer obligated to tolerate someone because it's necessary. You can consciously assemble around yourself the very tribe you need. Not 100 acquaintances, but 5 close ones. Not noisy parties, but quiet conversations over tea. Not obligations, but choice. This is a time when you can build your social circle the way you want, and this is a luxury you didn't have in youth. Your longevity isn't in the medicine cabinet, not in supplements, and not in trendy diets. Your longevity lives in your phone's contact list, in the names of people you can call, in the faces of those who are glad to see you. There's a concept in maturity psychology, the third age. The first age is childhood and youth when personality is forming. The second age is the active phase, career, starting a family, raising children. The third age is when all of that is behind you. Children have grown up and lived their own lives. Career has reached its ceiling or already ended. Many old friends have moved away, are absorbed in their families, or unfortunately passed away. And here a fork occurs. 2 possible trajectories. First, a person contracts, tells themselves, I don't need anyone, I'm used to being alone. I have TV, books, internet, I'm busy, I have enough to do. And slowly fades. Not from boredom, from the fact that the body gets the signal. Your time is up. You're no longer needed by the system. Second, a person understands now is the time to build new connections. Because there could be another 20, 30, even 40 years of life ahead. And the quality of this life directly depends on whether there are people nearby. Not necessarily many, not necessarily close, but they must be there, regularly, predictably. And here's what's important to understand. In the third age, making friends is easier than it seems, because people don't have that rush, that busyness they had in youth. No obligations to small children, no race for career heights. People at this age value simple human communication. They don't need entertainment, don't need hustle. They just need to sit, talk, laugh about some nonsense. And there are plenty of such people around. They're also sitting in their apartments, also watching TV alone, would also be glad for company. It's just that no one makes the first step. Your longevity is not in the medicine cabinet, not in blood tests, not in trendy superfoods, not in gym memberships, not in expensive vitamins. All of that is important, yes, it helps. But without the social component, all of this is just postponing the inevitable. Real longevity is in your address book, in your phone's contact list, in the number of people you can call just because, without a reason, and who can call you, in the number of places you can go where they know you, in the number of people who will be happy to see you. There's a study of centenarians from different countries. They're called blue zones, regions where the percentage of long livers is abnormally high. Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, Icaria in Greece, Nicoya in Costa Rica, Loma Linda in California. Scientists looked for the common denominator. What unites these people? Diet? No, they eat very differently. Physical activity? Important, but not critical. Genetics? Plays a role, but not decisive. The only thing that united all centenarians was strong social connections. Each of them had a group of people they regularly communicated with: family, neighbors, community. Okinawa residents have a moai system, groups of 5 to 7 people who meet regularly, support each other, celebrate holidays together. In Sardinia, people come out to the village main square every evening, just to sit, to talk. This isn't an organized event. This is part of the lifestyle. In Ikaria, people live close to each other, drop by without warning, cook food together, spend time on shared porches. This isn't romanticizing simple life. This is biology. Their bodies get a daily signal. You're safe. You're needed. The tribe is nearby. And this activates long life mode. You know why this video is important? Because about smoking we're told everywhere. Anti-tobacco campaigns, scary pictures on packs, fines, bans. About alcohol, everywhere. About excess weight, everywhere. About cholesterol, on every corner. But about social isolation? Silence. Although it kills no less, and possibly even more. Silence, because it's an uncomfortable topic. Because admitting loneliness means admitting vulnerability. And we've been told since childhood, be self-sufficient, don't depend on others, be strong, manage on your own. But self-sufficiency and self-isolation are different things. A strong person isn't one who doesn't need others. A strong person is one who knows how to build connections, who can ask for help, who isn't afraid to show that another person matters to them, who can say, "I'm lonely, let's meet." This isn't weakness, this is wisdom. This is understanding how we're made. And here's what else is important to understand. You don't have to become the life of the party, don't have to make dozens of friends, don't have to attend noisy events if that's alien to you. Introversion is normal, the need for solitude is normal. But between "I need time to recharge" and "I don't talk to anyone for weeks," there's a huge difference. The first is a healthy boundary. The second is self-destruction. Even the most hardened introvert needs social contacts, just in smaller quantity and different format. Not noisy parties, but quiet one-on-one meetings. Not large companies, but 2 to 3 close people. Not every day, but at least once or twice a week. Your body doesn't need quantity. It needs regularity and authenticity of contact. Here's what I suggest you do right now. Not after the video, not tomorrow, not when in the mood. Right now, while these words are still echoing in your head, close this video. Yes, I'm serious. Watch to the end, then close it. Open your contact list on your phone. Scroll through it slowly. Find a person you haven't communicated with in a long time, but remember warmly. Someone you used to feel good with. Maybe it's an old colleague, maybe a classmate, maybe a neighbor from your previous residence, and write to them. Or call, even better. No need for excuses, no need for long explanations, no need to wait for the right moment. Simply, "Hi, thought of you. How are things?" Or, "Haven't talked in a while, wanted to know how life is." Or, "Saw something that reminded me of you, decided to write." That's it. 3 lines, 30 seconds to type or say. And you just did more for your heart than a month of taking the most expensive vitamins. Do this not for that person. Do it for yourself, for your blood vessels, for your heart. For those years of life you can still live healthy, vigorous, full of energy. Because your body isn't waiting for vitamins and pills. It's waiting for a signal, a simple ancient signal. I'm not alone. The tribe is nearby. I can relax. I can live long. And only you can give it that signal. Only your actions. Not doctors, not pills, not tests. your decision to reach out to another person. If this video resonated with you, don't hit like. Well, you can, of course, but that's not the main thing. The main thing, do what I said. Write to someone, call someone, restore at least one connection, and then, if you want, come back and share this video with those for whom it might be important. Because there's a good chance that among your acquaintances, there are people who are also sitting in solitude and destroying their blood vessels, not even suspecting it. Perhaps your message to them will become that very signal. You're not forgotten. You matter. Let's meet. Take care of yourself and your connections. These aren't just nice words. This is literally an instruction for prolonging life.